The Dallas Cowboys defense, something has to change. Week after week, the mistakes keep piling up, and fans are left asking the same question: who's really in charge? Right now, there's no clear option outside the organization for an in-season defensive coordinator replacement. And within the staff? The picture isn't much brighter. The secondary has struggled badly, the communication hasn't been sharp, and the coaches on deck don't have the experience needed to step in and fix this unit overnight. And before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and of course, smash the bell icon so you never miss an update on the Cowboys and the entire NFL. Back to the Cowboys. Some fans believe firing a coach could provide the spark this team desperately needs. But who steps up? Would Brian Schottenheimer truly get the freedom to reshape this defense? Or are the Cowboys simply going to give Mike Zimmer and his staff more time to figure things out? This defense has talent. But the reality is, too many self-inflicted wounds have left Dallas in a hole. The secondary looks lost, and the adjustments just haven't been there. The front office hasn't exactly helped, either. They've been hesitant to make bold moves, and fans are frustrated. And right now, that frustration is boiling over. So the question becomes, do the Cowboys try to ride this storm out with what they've got, or do they finally step up and make an aggressive move, whether it's a coaching shakeup or a trade that could jolt this team back into contention? When you talk about potential moves for the Cowboys, one name always sparks excitement: Max Crosby. He's relentless, plays every snap like it's his last, and has the kind of leadership every locker room craves. Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, they all get the spotlight, but make no mistake, Crosby belongs right there in that same elite tier. The problem? Players like that don't become available. He's the heartbeat of the Raiders, their warrior. Unless Crosby himself forces a trade, it's almost impossible to imagine Las Vegas letting him go. And that's the painful truth: sometimes the dream targets simply stay out of reach. But that doesn't mean Dallas should sit still. If this defense is going to rebound, if this team is serious about contending, they'll need to explore every possible option, whether it's a trade for defensive help or finding stability in the trenches. Because let's be real, the offensive line hasn't been perfect either. Dak Prescott has been hurried and pressured far too often, and while this offense still racks up yards, it's clear the protection has cracks. Being down 3 starters would cripple most teams, but the Cowboys still managed to stay in the fight. That says something about their resilience, but it also highlights how thin the margin for error has become. And then there are the defensive decisions, the soft zones on critical downs, the lack of aggression when the game demands it. It's the kind of play calling that leaves fans shaking their heads, wondering how this team can ever truly take the next step. Right now, Dallas finds itself in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Standing pat feels like surrender, but making the wrong move could backfire even worse. The pressure is building, and the Cowboys can't afford to get this wrong. The Cowboys' defense continues to frustrate. Blitzes aren't getting home, adjustments don't seem to work, and the scheme feels stuck in neutral. Week after week, it's the same story: soft coverages, predictable fronts, and little creativity when it comes to generating pressure. Why not get more aggressive? Why not mix in more 5-man fronts, force one-on-one battles in the trenches, and give this defense a chance to dictate instead of reacting? Right now, it feels like they're overthinking everything. Coaches talk about simplifying, yet the execution looks anything but simple. Instead, it's blown coverages, missed assignments, and a big play surrendered right out of the gate. That opening drive collapse has become a recurring nightmare. And fans are left asking, where's the fire? Where's the urgency? There's also the question of personnel. Some believe shifting certain players closer to the line of scrimmage could help stop the bleeding. For example, adding more power up front in passing situations, using a hybrid role that allows extra edge rushers to stay on the field, might be the spark this unit desperately needs. Even if it's not a perfect solution, at least it's a step toward trying something different. Because doing nothing? That's the real disaster. And right now, the Cowboys' defense is playing like a group afraid to take risks, instead of a unit hungry to dominate. For over 2 decades, the Cowboys have ignored one of the most important positions on defense, safety. Think about that. Not a single first or second round pick has been spent at safety since Roy Williams back in 2002. 20+ years of neglect. And the results? Exactly what you'd expect. Year after year, fans watch talented safeties go elsewhere, while Dallas treats the position like an afterthought. Derwin James, Juan Thornhill, Taylor Rapp, the list of missed opportunities goes on. Meanwhile, the Cowboys keep patching holes with short-term fixes instead of finally making safety a priority. That has to change. Because Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson won't be around forever, and this defense can't keep pretending the back end doesn't matter. If Dallas wants to build a championship roster, safety can't be ignored anymore. And it's not just about personnel, it's about philosophy. This current bend-but-don't-break style simply isn't working. The Cowboys bend, and then they break. Over and over. Opponents march down the field, chunk plays pile up, and by the end, there's nothing left but frustration. So what's the solution? Flip the script. Attack more. Blitz with aggression. Play tighter man coverage. Yes, you might give up the occasional big play, but right now, they're giving those up anyway. The difference is, if you pressure quarterbacks and force turnovers, you can change games. 1 sack. 1 interception. 1 forced fumble. That's how defenses spark momentum. Right now, Dallas is getting 1 or 2 of those moments per game, while giving up 5 or 6 big plays in return. That's not a formula for winning. If the Cowboys truly want to fix this defense, it's time to stop clinging to a broken system and start playing with the kind of edge that can flip an entire season. At some point, the Cowboys' defense has to decide, are they willing to take risks to create big plays, or will they keep sitting back and getting carved up? Playing safe has gotten them nowhere. Yes, being aggressive means you might give up the occasional touchdown, but it also means you have a chance to swing momentum, force a turnover, or finally get that crucial 4th down stop. Because the truth is simple, if you can't slow down teams like the Jets or the Panthers, you won't stand a chance against the real contenders later in the season. These are the games Dallas has to dominate. If the defense gives up 30+ points to those offenses, then tough conversations have to be had. Even the coaching staff's future would be on the line at that point. And here's the bigger issue, consistency. 1 week the secondary looks completely lost, the next week they show flashes of locking down the deep ball. That kind of roller coaster isn't good enough. The Cowboys need to stabilize, build on the positives, and stop living on excuses. This stretch of the season is critical. The schedule is only going to get tougher, and Dallas can't afford to waste opportunities against struggling teams. The time to turn it around isn't later. The time is right now. Another major issue for Dallas, execution on 3rd down. Too often, routes are being run short of the sticks, and when that happens, the receiver has to make the first man miss. Jake Ferguson, who was one of the league leaders in forcing missed tackles over the past 2 seasons, just hasn't been that guy this year. The numbers are down, and the plays after contact aren't coming as often as before. Yes, he made a tough end zone grab recently, and that was a step in the right direction, but the Cowboys need more from him. 3rd downs define drives. You either extend possessions or you hand momentum back to the opponent. Right now, Dallas is leaving too many opportunities on the field. And when it comes to trades, fans dream big, names like Fred Warner get thrown around. But the reality is, stars like that rarely become available. Contenders don't just give away cornerstone players. The 49ers aren't trading their captain, no matter how much sense it might make on paper. So the Cowboys can't sit around hoping for a miracle blockbuster. The focus has to be on cleaning up their own mistakes, better execution on key downs, sharper routes, more fight after contact, and a defense that plays with urgency. Those details will make the difference between a team that just survives, and a team that truly contends.